Hi everyone, this is Daniel. This is an updated version of my tutorial using the template hammer with modded structures. This is the demonstration build that I created. It's just a simple steampunk house. It has a CKF keep foundation. Then for the first floor, it's CKF villager. And then I've got CKF settler half walls. Then up above for the floor, I've got ASA glass ceilings. And the top floor, this is Klinger rustic building. This is the wood tier. And I've also got the rustic wood curved roofs. And I've also got Cybers ceiling steam lights around the base. The process that I'm going to show is the same as it was in my other video. It's just I'm hoping this video is a little better. I don't know what's wandering around up on the top of that cliff, but it sounds pretty big. But what I'm going to do is use the build tool and select this foundation. Notice it's a vanilla stone foundation, but it could also be an ASR stone foundation. It's connected directly to the CKF foundation of the build. I also have a matching one on the other side. That's mainly just to help figure out where the front of the building is. So now I'm going to bring out the build tool, and the default mode is perfectly fine. If I've got exclude structures on, that means things like tables and furniture, crafting structures inside won't be copied or won't be included in the template. If I switch it to include, then they will be. Since I've got these steam lights at the front, I'm going to make sure it's on include. And then select all is what you want to choose for the queue, which should again be default, and I will select it. And I'm on PC, so to select it, I just click the left mouse button. Notice that the CKF parts of the build were not selected or not highlighted. However, if I export this template and look at the template file, you'll see that the CKF parts are listed. And if you look at the center of the screen there, it shows there's 108 parts selected out of a maximum of 2,000. So they are included. Now I'm going to save this. So I just left click again when switching to that save icon and give it a name. And then click R and select it. And then click place. And now put it in the position I'd like it in, and just left click again. And here you can raise it up or down just by using your mouse or rotate it around. And then once you found it the spot you want it to be, just left click again and go to either foundation to start the build. And we want to be in auto build mode, but you can switch it to auto build after you set it in place, or after you click it and start. In fact, you can switch it, but I would go ahead and make sure it's an auto build before you select and start the build. So I'm going to hit click Q and switch it to auto build, and then choose this one and just left mouse button on it. And notice it's built the CKF foundations, and now it's doing the railings. I did this build out of glass in places so it's easier to see the build as it completes. then I just click complete. If the build runs into a problem, in other words, it's meshed into the ground somewhere and it can't place a part, you can manually complete the build process and then go back through and build what it didn't build. That is essentially the end of the tutorial. That's all you need to do to copy your modded structures. I do have advice. Some people have very big builds, like when I built Winterfell and other castles for some RP servers, they were much more than 2,000 parts. If you're trying to copy it, a big build, you might start from the top and work your way down. And as you go one level to another, just take away the parts and then save again from top down is the best way I can think. Unless as you're building, you're thinking through the build and you're build the foundation and then you save the foundation and then you build the next layer. And if you have something like ASR, where you can actually set the parts to act as foundations, which if you're on a build server or a server that has these, more than likely they've got this turned on. And one thing that you could do is place this along any of these walls, and then you could basically remove all of this part, and then you could save the top part and then rebuild this part, and then remove the top part and then go down with the rest of the build. That's for very large builds. Small builds like this, it's nothing to worry about, but that's my advice for very large builds. The issues that I've seen with this method, and I believe it's a vanilla problem. I don't think it's specific to the fact that we're dealing with modded parts. Sometimes with the copy, you can't select the pieces with something like the ASR pickup gun or the CS pickup gun. I haven't tested the CS pickup gun, but I assume the mechanism is the same. And it's intermittent. Sometimes a copied structure will be perfectly fine, and other times the same copy will have pieces that don't select in one copy but do select in another copy. So it's just a random bug that I found, and it doesn't always happen. The other thing that happens has to do with a vanilla bug with the build tool, and that's where things like inverted stairways will go back to their normal orientation, and things like railings, when they paste, the vanilla railings have a way of going from flat to sloped automatically. It just interprets where it's at and then it switches. The reason I didn't have that problem with these is because CKF has two separate parts. They have flat railings and then a separate part for sloped, so you don't have that bug. And it really just depends on what mods you're using as to whether or not you're going to have that bug or not. And then in that case, just plan ahead or be ready to replace those pieces once you complete your build. I hope this will help everybody back up the builds that they've created and be able to move them to new servers, especially new maps like Ragnarok. And I hope everybody enjoyed this video, and I hope it looks better this time. I redid this because the quality of the first video looked like I was running on a potato, but you can see the FPS is not too bad, and considering I'm running OBS and this is a 2080 Ti and this is Ark Survival Ascended, and I've even got everything going like the sky and fog and everything else. I think it's running pretty smoothly this time. I believe the problem I had with the first video is I hadn't updated OBS in a while, and the encoding had changed, and I'd also made a lot of videos, and I think there was a memory leak, and I believe that there was something taking up a whole lot of memory. So I just rebooted and updated OBS, and everything seems to be looking a lot better. Take care, everyone.